Hi, my lovely.
Hi.
Welcome to America.
One of the standout moments of America's Got Talent in 2018 was when Courtney Hadwin stepped onto the audition stage. Initially, people didn't expect much from a shy, small girl from a quiet village in England. But then, she delivered an unexpected performance that blew everyone away. With her powerful voice and electrifying dance moves, she set the stage on fire. Applause filled the room, comments flooded in, and her views soared into the millions. It was clear, a star had been born. But things didn't quite progress as many anticipated. What happened? Why the delay in her career? Today, we're going to reveal the untold stories Courtney Hadwin has kept hidden. And trust me, they're nothing short of heartbreaking. A little girl with dreams far bigger than her tiny shoulders could carry. That is the first picture you get when you start tracing back the early journey of Courtney Hadwin. Her sudden rise into the spotlight often created an illusion that she must have come from a family soaked in music, a home where someone strummed guitars or sang professionally. Maybe her father was a seasoned musician, or her mother had a stage past of her own. But the truth is almost surprising in its simplicity. Courtney had no musical bloodline to inherit from, no guiding footsteps of a singer in the family. Music was not a family heirloom. It was a flame she discovered all on her own, out of pure affection for sound, rhythm, and the strange magic of her own voice. Courtney was born on July 6, 2004, in the quiet community of Hesleden, County Durham, England. Her childhood didn't begin in glitter or noise. It was the kind of childhood where neighbors know one another, where life passes gently, and where a young girl can grow up grounded. Courtney was just another child in this close-knit village, but within her was a spark waiting to be discovered, even before she herself realized it. Raised in a modest household, far away from celebrity life or public attention, she grew up surrounded by peace and simplicity. Her parents, Paul and Anne Maria Hadwin, held the family together with warmth and steadiness. Beside her were her younger siblings, Melissa and Paul Jr. Together, they formed a small world around her. But beneath that ordinary exterior lay something delicate and powerful: Courtney's untouched, unpolished musical gift. For Courtney, music was not a hobby that came and went with mood. It was a pull, something that tugged at her whenever she heard a tune. She didn't just hum casually or dance along mindlessly. She absorbed music. She lived inside it. Whenever a song played, the world around her slowed down, as if giving her space to step into a spotlight only she could see. Their simple living room transformed into her personal stage. That was where her earliest performances happened. A mix of funny dance steps, little spins, and heartfelt attempts at singing, which her family watched with a kind of amused tenderness. They didn't need her to explain anything. Her entire body language shouted what music meant to her. This wasn't a phase. It wasn't a game. For her, music was becoming part of her identity. Taking her away from it would have been like forcing her to breathe without air. So the family didn't pull her back. Instead, they pushed her forward. They became her first audience, her earliest supporters. Her parents, grandparents, and relatives all gathered around whenever she began her little shows. She grabbed anything she could find: a remote, a brush, sometimes a book, and held it like a microphone. Then she would pour her imagination into it with such sincerity that the watching adults often felt a strange emotion rising in them. She entertained them, made them laugh, but more importantly, she made them believe. And slowly that belief grew into certainty. Courtney's enthusiasm refused to stay within four walls. Performing only for family was no longer enough. She wanted more faces, more hearts to reach. School became her next frontier. Lunchtime and breaks stopped being just about food or playground games. For Courtney, those moments became stages. She sang when others ate. She practiced when others chatted. At first, it was just her, a small girl singing by herself. But soon, other kids began noticing. Her voice had a pull. It had a softness and a depth that didn't match her age. Students stopped to listen. Word spread. Before long, the teachers noticed too. Hesleden Primary School unintentionally became her first official training ground. Every time there was an event, celebration, or program requiring a singer, everyone knew who deserved the spotlight. Courtney wasn't just a student anymore. She became the girl with the voice, a cheerful presence who brought life to the school atmosphere with melody. As she moved forward into high school, the stakes became higher. The academy at Schotten Hall introduced new responsibilities, heavier academic pressure, and the struggle of balancing passion with studies. But Courtney didn't stumble. Instead, she grew. She became part of the school choir, shining in every performance, and became a familiar face in school productions. She learned early how to juggle schoolwork and music without letting one destroy the other. Her goal was never fame. She wasn't chasing stardom. She was simply answering the call of something she couldn't ignore. But the adults around her, teachers, mentors, knew what she carried wasn't ordinary. They knew gifts like hers must be shaped, refined, trained. They encouraged her to seek proper guidance, to explore her potential professionally. And for that, Courtney needed training beyond what she could naturally perform. Her parents, limited by finances but rich in support, enrolled her in local performance programs. She joined Schotten Hall Theater School, where she learned discipline in performance, how movement complements music, how emotions travel through body language, how presence matters as much as voice. Then she moved to the Peanut Masterclass and later to Kate Sir's School of Music. Every step sharpened her. She learned pitch, scale, progression, technique, but still, something crucial was missing: a dedicated vocal coach. Then came Jules Miles' Vocal Ovation. This was where her rough edges were trimmed and her strengths intensified. She learned to control her voice, protect it, and use it with power and emotion. She began to sing not just boldly, but with confidence. But talent needs a stage, and the world needed to hear her. Her dreams were bigger than her age, yet she stood ready. The problem was the path. Professional recording, too expensive. Joining bands, too demanding for a girl balancing school. Touring, impossible. So what was left? Which road could take her to the next level without destroying her academics? Courtney's journey toward greatness was never about taking the big leap. She knew that sometimes those monumental moments could take a lifetime to come. In her early teens, Courtney was still young and driven by ambition, but she wasn't about to rush the process. She understood that success was built step by step, and she was prepared to work her way up. Instead of waiting for a massive break, Courtney took every opportunity that came her way. She didn't turn down local shows or festivals, fully immersing herself in these smaller, more intimate performances. Her focus wasn't on fame. She simply wanted a platform to share her voice, her love for music. The young star became a familiar face at local events, earning the reputation as the go-to musician when a festival needed an artist to dazzle the crowd. These moments, though not widely recognized, were monumental in shaping who she was. Every small stage she stepped onto was a learning experience, helping her master her voice and refine her craft. The more she performed, the more her confidence grew. Her fan base slowly expanded beyond her hometown as people began to take notice of her undeniable talent. It wasn't long before a significant opportunity came knocking. Teen Star, a national competition in the United Kingdom, where Courtney would face off against some of the most talented young musicians in the country.
James Brown, Bruce Springsteen, Aretha Franklin, Etta James.
This was no longer just a local stage. This was a chance for her to test her skills at a higher level. But with that opportunity came pressure. Courtney wasn't just aiming to do well, she wanted to succeed. Her thoughts became clouded with self-doubt as she prepared for the competition. Was she ready to take on such a big challenge? Would she be able to rise to the occasion? Preparation for the competition felt like an exam ground for Courtney. Even at such a young age, she understood that failing wasn't an option. The pressure weighed heavily on her, but she was determined to prove herself. When her moment finally came, Courtney delivered a performance that left the judges in awe. She realized that this stage wasn't all that different from the ones she had conquered in Hesleden. The familiarity of the local performances gave her the confidence to soar. Courtney breezed through the local level, made it to the state level, and ultimately found herself competing nationally. But how would she fare on the national stage? The national level brought with it a new set of challenges. It wasn't just about having a great voice, it was about popularity. Courtney, a girl from a small village in the northern part of England, didn't have the same fame or recognition as some of her competitors from bigger cities. But despite these obstacles, she gave a performance that was nothing short of spectacular. Though she didn't win the competition, she earned a great reputation and was recognized as one of the standout performers. In 2016, Courtney was even honored as the Best Performer of the Year by Hartlepool, a recognition that reinforced her belief in her talent and potential. Courtney's journey didn't stop there. She knew that if she continued to work hard and refine her skills, bigger opportunities would follow. Her ambition pushed her to tackle more complex music, challenging her voice to reach new heights. At just 13 years old, Courtney had already achieved what most people would consider the pinnacle of success. She had mastered her breath control, her timing was impeccable, and she could effortlessly transition between high and low pitches. Her talent was undeniable, and it didn't take long for another opportunity to come her way. This time, it wasn't just another local competition. It was The Voice Kids UK, one of the most prestigious music shows for young performers in the United Kingdom. Courtney, now 13, had raised the bar for herself. She wasn't just entering as a young hopeful anymore, she was entering as a star. The show's blind auditions marked the beginning of her journey on a much larger stage. For her audition, Courtney chose Nutbush City Limits by Tina Turner, a song that showcased the strength of her voice. It was a perfect choice, and when she performed, the judges couldn't help but be captivated by her raw talent. Courtney was picked to join Danny Jones's team, and from there, her journey on The Voice Kids UK became even more intense. The battleground stage was one of the most challenging moments of her life. She performed Dancing in the Street by Martha and the Vandellas, a song full of energy and passion. Her performance helped her secure a victory in the battle round against her competitors, Ebony Green and Holly Fermin. But winning the battle stage didn't mean she'd won the competition outright. The real test came in the semi-final, where she performed I Got You, I Feel You by James Brown, one of her idols. Courtney's performance was strong, but it wasn't enough to take her to the top. In the final, Courtney performed And I Am Telling You That I'm Not Going from the musical Dreamgirls, a song that required every ounce of her emotional depth and vocal power. She was so close to winning, but in the end, she lost to Jess Foley. Despite not winning the show, The Voice Kids UK was an incredibly important chapter in Courtney's career. It boosted her confidence, taught her how to compete at a high level, and helped her build relationships with other young performers. During an interview in March 2025, Courtney reflected on her experience, saying, "I was a finalist on The Voice Kids United Kingdom in 2017 on Team Danny Jones. I made some really good friends and still speak to a few of the finalists now, 8 years later. I think it really helped with my confidence, and at that age, I really needed to be told, you have something." Her vocal coach, Jules Miles, also acknowledged the significance of The Voice Kids UK for Courtney's career. "In 2017, I put Courtney forward for The Voice Kids UK," Jules said. Courtney was initially hesitant about entering such a big competition. She wasn't sure if she was prepared for the pressure. She admitted in an interview, "I wasn't going to enter, as I didn't believe that I could do well in a competition like that." But ultimately, the show became a stepping stone that helped Courtney prepare for something much bigger, the unimaginable America's Got Talent, AGT. Courtney's road to stardom was full of steps, each one building on the last. The Voice Kids UK wasn't the final destination, but it set the stage for what was to come. It was here that Courtney learned the power of persistence and the importance of taking every opportunity that came her way. Each challenge she faced only made her stronger, and as she continued her journey, it became clear that she was destined for greatness, and AGT would soon be the stage where her dreams would take flight. The Voice Kids UK turned Courtney Hadwin into a household name in England. Her remarkable achievement didn't just elevate her from a talented local singer to a national star, but it transformed her into a community hero. People across her hometown, Hesleden, spoke of the young girl who, with nothing but ambition, rose from humble beginnings to achieve a success that many only dream of. Her story captivated the hearts of many, and her fan base rapidly grew as the news of her victory spread. The British media quickly took notice, strengthening her presence in the entertainment world. However, Courtney wasn't satisfied with just being a local hero. She knew that her talent deserved a global platform. The recognition she received in the UK was monumental, but to build a sustainable career, she needed more. She craved international recognition, a stage where her abilities could be fully appreciated. That's when the American dream began to take shape. The journey to America's Got Talent, AGT, was set to be her next big leap, and she was ready to take it. This wasn't just about competing on another stage. It was about stepping into a world full of seasoned professionals and incredibly talented contestants. The competition would be fierce, and with everything on the line, there was a real possibility that it could all go wrong. But Courtney was determined to prove herself on a bigger scale. With a briefcase in one hand and a heart full of ambition, Courtney embarked on her journey to America. It was the longest trip she had ever taken, both physically and metaphorically. When she landed in the United States, it felt like she had arrived at her destined place. The city, the hustle, the American atmosphere were all there, but none of it mattered to Courtney. All that mattered was the stage ahead of her. She didn't have time to get caught up in the spectacle around her. She needed to focus on preparing for her audition. Every second she spent in the hotel room was a chance to train, rehearse, and perfect her craft. Courtney knew that AGT was a different ballgame. This was a stage that wouldn't tolerate mistakes or naivety. There was no room for inexperience. It was either she gave her best or she would be sent back to England with a broken heart. The day of the audition arrived, and the waiting room was filled with a sea of contestants. Each one had their own hopes and dreams, and everyone was vying for a chance to make it to the next stage. Courtney, surrounded by hopefuls, clung to her dad, who had come along to support her, and also held on to her vocal coach, Jules Miles. As the names were called and contestants moved in and out of the audition room, the pressure mounted. Some people were running last-minute rehearsals, desperate to perfect their performance, while others were clearly feeling the strain of the competition. When some contestants emerged from the stage, the disappointment was evident on their faces. Only a few were lucky enough to come out with smiles. Courtney, however, remained hopeful, praying she would get enough yeses to move forward. Little did she know, a much bigger surprise awaited her. When it was her turn, the host escorted her to the stage, and the audience buzzed with excitement. Here was a young, unassuming 13-year-old girl dressed simply in a white, flowery blouse, dark jeans, and brown high-waisted shoes. Standing in front of a room full of expectant eyes, Courtney couldn't help but feel nervous. The judges could sense her anxiety. Mel B, one of the judges, asked a few questions to break the ice, and it was clear that Courtney, though shy, had the raw potential to impress. What no one expected was the transformation that was about to take place. The moment the music started, Courtney's nerves seemed to disappear, replaced by an overwhelming energy that took everyone by surprise. The shy girl on stage became an entirely different person. She transformed into a powerful, energetic performer, channeling the spirit of legendary soul musicians like Janis Joplin. The audience couldn't believe their eyes. Courtney's voice was captivating, strong, soulful, and mature, far beyond her years. Her performance was electric. In less than 3 minutes, she had delivered an intense, gritty, and exhilarating rendition of Hard to Handle by Otis Redding. As she hit the final note, an incredibly high pitch that seemed to defy the limits of her young voice. The audience erupted into a standing ovation.
Whenever I listen back to something that I do, it just makes me feel.
The performance had taken everyone by surprise. Tyra Banks, the host, was left screaming in excitement, while Courtney's father stood by the doorway, sharing the moment of disbelief with his daughter. The judges, Simon Cowell, Heidi Klum, Howie Mandel, and Mel B, were equally stunned. It was clear that this was a performance that would earn Courtney the golden ticket she needed to advance in the competition. But what happened next was even more unexpected. Howie Mandel, always known for his blunt honesty, was visibly shocked by the power of Courtney's performance. He described her as the new Janis Joplin, struggling to comprehend how such a young girl could possess so much raw energy and power. But beyond the praise came the moment that changed Courtney's life forever. Howie, in a surprise move, pressed the golden buzzer. A burst of confetti filled the air as Courtney stood there in shock, her eyes wide in disbelief. The golden streamers glittered as they fell around her, marking the moment as a miracle she never thought was possible. The video of her audition went viral almost immediately, gaining millions of views within days. Courtney, the girl from Hesleden, England, had become an overnight sensation. Her name appeared in headlines across entertainment news outlets, and her audition earned the highest viewership for AGT Season 13 up to that point. Fans flooded her social media accounts, leaving hundreds of comments and messages. Her popularity skyrocketed, and she became the trending topic on every social platform. It wasn't long before media outlets started clamoring for her. She was invited to appear on The Ellen DeGeneres Show, where she performed the same song, Hard to Handle, that had earned her the golden buzzer. Ellen brought up Courtney's shy nature, and the young singer shared that, while she might be shy in her everyday life, once the music started, she became a completely different person, one full of confidence and energy. Courtney's appearance on The Ellen DeGeneres Show was only the beginning. More interviews and media appearances followed, and Courtney began to embrace the fame that had come so suddenly. However, as the competition progressed, the pressure began to mount. A GT wasn't just a one-time performance, it was a series of live shows, each one more intense than the last. The expectations kept rising, and Courtney knew that she had to keep improving. This was no longer just about performing at her best. It was about maintaining the momentum and living up to the high expectations of her growing fan base. Her rehearsals became more grueling, and the pressure to deliver stronger performances increased. AGT was different from any other competition. It was about professional-level performances, with judges and the audience scrutinizing every move. Courtney knew that each round was crucial. Even though she had years of experience performing on various stages, nothing could prepare her for the intense lights, fog machines, and massive audience that awaited her. In the quarterfinals, Courtney delivered a stunning performance of James Brown's "Papa's Got a Brand New Bag." The energy in the room was palpable as she commanded the stage with her powerful voice and theatrical flair. The audience could feel the connection she had to the classic soul and funk music. The semifinals saw her take on Steppenwolf's "Born to Be Wild," and Simon Cowell was blown away by her performance. He called her a bundle of excitement, praising her ability to captivate the audience with her energy. The performance secured her spot in the finals. The final round, however, was a different beast entirely. Courtney, still just 13 years old, had to compete against 6 incredibly talented performers. Each one was a master of their craft, and the competition was fierce. Courtney opened the final with a breathtaking rendition of Tina Turner's "River Deep, Mountain High." Her voice, powerful as ever, filled the studio, and the audience responded with a standing ovation. The feedback was overwhelming, and it seemed like Courtney had just delivered the performance of a lifetime. It was a moment that could have sealed her victory. But, as with any competition, it wasn't just about the performance, it was about the votes. Despite the cheers and applause, Courtney was voted into 6th place, just shy of the top spot. While she didn't win, the exposure she gained from AGT was invaluable. Her fan base had grown immensely, and record labels were now eager to sign her. She signed with Psycho and Arista Records, Simon Cowell's label, and expectations were sky high.
Like you were the only man.
Fans were eagerly awaiting her debut single, convinced that Courtney was about to release a chart-topping hit. But days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, yet no music came. Courtney's silence left fans wondering, what happened to the young superstar who had captivated the world with her golden buzzer moment? As the years went by, Courtney's silence became the most heartbreaking part of her story. Rumors circulated, and speculation ran rampant. Some questioned whether her talent was as real as it seemed, while others speculated that her shy persona was just a performance. Courtney, however, was struggling with the immense pressure of being thrust into the pop world, a world she didn't feel connected to. The pop genre, with its bright and bubbly style, felt foreign to her. She was being pushed to conform, but it wasn't her. In an interview with Line of the Best Fit, Courtney revealed her frustration. She had been given songs that didn't resonate with her, songs that were far removed from the music she had always loved. It's been hard, she confessed. I constantly feel like I must prove I'm not just the girl from that TV show. Her struggle didn't end there. Courtney also faced bullying from some of her former friends and peers. People called her a shouter and criticized her for not singing in a way they considered acceptable. The combination of personal and professional pressures was overwhelming. And then the pandemic hit. Studios shut down, and there were no opportunities for collaboration. Courtney's career came to a standstill. In 2020, just days before her 16th birthday, Courtney received the devastating news that Psycho Records was shutting down. It was the lowest point in her career, with no label to back her, no new music to release, and her fan base beginning to lose interest. It seemed as though her dreams had evaporated. But Courtney wasn't ready to give up. She knew that music wasn't just a career for her, it was life itself. She contacted Kevin Bowe, a respected producer with a track record working with legends like Etta James and Joe Cocker. Together, they began to reimagine Courtney's sound. Instead of continuing to chase pop trends, Kevin helped her reconnect with her soul, blues, and rock roots, genres that allowed her true creativity to shine. In 2023, Courtney released her debut tracks, including Breakable, Girl Don't Live Here, and Call Me Back Monsters. These songs marked a new chapter in her career, one where she was free to express herself fully. Courtney had found her voice again. The years of silence were no longer a curse. They had been a time of growth, exploration, and reinvention. Now, with her music resonating more deeply than ever before, Courtney was ready to reclaim her place in the industry. The journey from a shy young girl on AGT to an independent, confident artist had been long and challenging, but it had ultimately shaped her into the artist she was always meant to be. Courtney Hadwin was back, and this time, she was making her own rules.
How are you?
A little bit nervous.
That's okay to be nervous.
Are you a fan of Courtney Hadwin's latest tracks? Which one resonates with you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with others. Don't forget to subscribe so you can stay updated with all our exciting content. A brand new video is ready for you. Click on the screen now to dive into more amazing stories.